My science teacher literally turned me into a straight-A student just by changing one seat in the classroom. At least I thought it was just about grades, until I found out she was basically trying to set me up with someone. My name is Lily, and last year I was that kid who did not care. Like it all. School was just something that existed between Roblox sessions and scrolling drama, and science was my worst subject. I failed every test, I never listened, and I used my notebook mostly to draw my Roblox avatar. Science was just background noise. Or so I thought. The only person who did not treat it like background noise was my science teacher, Mrs. Hale. She was that weird mix of strict and nice, where she would roast someone with just an eyebrow raise, but then stay after school to help them. She always watched me in this quiet way, like she was thinking really hard about something. I thought she just saw me as the lazy one. I did not realize I was part of a plan. At the end of the first semester, I totally bombed the final test. Big red F on the paper. My stomach dropped so hard it actually hurt. When she handed it to me, she just said, "Lily, we will talk after class." And then she walked away. That was the moment when everything started. After class, I stayed behind, pretending to organize my bag for the 10th time. She leaned on my desk and looked at me. "I know you are not stupid," she said. "You are just somewhere else." Which honestly hurt more than the F. She asked what I liked, what I was into, and I kind of mumbled, "Roblox mostly." Her eyes did this little sparkle thing, and she nodded like she had just solved a puzzle. Then she said, "Next term, you are getting a new seat." I thought that was the end of it. It was not. After winter break, everyone walked into class and froze. The desks were in totally new rows, with little name tags on them. Instant chaos. People running around, screaming about who they got stuck next to. My heart was pounding as I tried to find my name. It was in the second row, by the window right next to the smartest guy in our grade. His name was Noah. Perfect attendance, perfect grades, always had his hand up, that type. Quiet, kind of shy, messy dark hair, that kind of cute that sneaks up slowly. His Roblox username was literally on half the top leaderboards in our school, because he made insane obstacle courses and coding games. And now my name was right next to his. I just stared at it. I sat down slowly, trying to act like I did not care. Noah slid into his seat, glanced at my name card, and then at me. "Hey," he said, super soft. I mumbled, "Hey," back and stared at my empty notebook. It felt like the whole class was staring. The weirdest part was, Mrs. Hale kept glancing at the two of us. Like she was waiting for something to happen. For the first few days, nothing huge happened. I still did not understand half of what was going on. Science terms felt like another language. But there was this new thing now. Every time Mrs. Hale asked a question, I was sitting directly next to the person who always knew the answer. So the difference between my blank brain and his galaxy brain felt even louder. And it was awful. One day, we had a pop quiz. I looked at the paper and my brain just shut down. I could feel my face burning. I thought failing in front of the class was bad, but failing next to Noah somehow felt worse. When Mrs. Hale collected the quizzes, my hands were shaking a little. That should have been the end of it. Except it was not. After class, as I was packing up, Noah spoke first. He kind of leaned toward me and said, "Hey, I saw your score on the last test. It was rough." I wanted to sink into the floor. Before I could snap at him, he added, "I have a private Roblox server where I build science minigames. They actually help. Do you want to join sometime?" I froze. Roblox? He had just offered me Roblox and help in one sentence. I did not know what to say. He wrote his username on a sticky note and slid it onto my desk. His hand was shaking a little too. Then he grabbed his backpack and left like he had just robbed a bank. I stared at that tiny sticky note for so long. It was such a small thing. But that was the moment I started caring. That night, I stared at my PC for a long time, his username typed in the search bar. My brain kept flipping between "do it" and "this is so cringe, do not do it." Finally, I hit add friend. 2 seconds later, the little notification popped up. "You have been invited to join Noah's server." My heart jumped into my throat. When I joined, his avatar spawned next to mine instantly, like he had been waiting. His character did a little wave. He had built this whole science lab map in Roblox, with beakers, fake explosions, silly labels, and a scoreboard. "Okay," he typed, "this is how I study. Each room is a topic. If you answer wrong, you fall into slime." It was ridiculous. It was also kind of genius. For the next hour, we ran through virtual classrooms, jumped over lasers, and answered chemistry questions on floating panels. When I got one wrong and my character fell into the slime pit, his avatar did an over-the-top cry emote until I laughed. He explained things in such simple ways that my brain finally stopped freaking out. For the first time ever, science did not feel like a brick wall. I did not say it out loud, but I started wanting to impress him. Soon it turned into a routine. 3 times a week, after homework time, I would log into his server. Sometimes we studied. Sometimes we just messed around, and he showed me new games he was coding. He would ask, "Does this level make sense?" Or, "Is this part fun or boring?" I loved that he actually cared what I thought. And slowly, my grades started to creep up. The first time I got a B- on a quiz, I almost screamed. I placed it on my desk, trying not to look too proud, but no one noticed. "Nice," he whispered, "told you the slime pit works." I tried to play it off, but inside it felt like fireworks. And then I noticed something else. Mrs. Hale was watching us again. Except this time, she was smiling. Of course, nothing stays secret forever in middle school. One day, someone walked past my screen during lunch and saw my chat with Noah open. By the end of the week, people were calling us lab partners for life and making fake wedding jokes. There were Roblox edit memes of our avatars standing next to each other in science lab maps. I laughed at first. Then it started to sting. Someone joked, "Lily is only passing science because she is obsessed with nerd Noah." That one hit way too close. Suddenly, every good grade felt fake, like I had not earned it. I hated that people thought I was just using him. So I did the dumbest thing possible. I pulled away. I stopped joining his server. I stopped answering his messages. In class, I only talked when I absolutely had to. He would glance at me, confused, and then stare at his notebook. The space between our desks suddenly felt huge. And my grades, they started slipping again, exactly like a bad graph. One afternoon, Mrs. Hale announced a huge project. "Everyone will be working in pairs," she said. "You will create something that explains a science concept in a creative way. Models, videos, games, whatever. This will be a big part of your grade." She started reading out the pairs. My heart hammered louder with each name. And then I heard it. Noah and Lily. My stomach dropped so hard it felt like I got punched. After class, I marched up to her desk. "I do not want to work with him," I said, trying to sound normal but probably looking insane. She looked up slowly. "Why not?" "I just do not," I snapped. "Can I switch?" She folded her hands and tilted her head. "No, this is the pair." Her voice was calm, but her eyes were sharp. That was the moment I realized this was not random. Later, at my locker, I felt a tap on my shoulder. It was Noah. "Did I do something?" he asked quietly. My throat went tight. I wanted to say no, that it was everyone else, that I was just scared. Instead, I shrugged and said, "People talk too much. It is annoying." His face fell just a tiny bit. "Right," he said, "so we just do the project and that is it." He sounded like he already knew the answer. And that hurt more than I expected. That night, I was sitting alone in the hallway after tutoring, waiting for my mom. The school was almost empty, and everything echoed. I heard voices coming from the classroom down the hall. It was Mrs. Hale and the school counselor. I was not trying to eavesdrop, but my name came up, and my body just froze. "She is smart," Mrs. Hale was saying. "She just shut down this year. She escapes into games." There was a pause. "But she lights up when she talks about them. And there is that boy, Noah. He is patient, and he sees her. Sometimes a peer can reach someone more than a teacher can." The counselor said something I could not hear. Then Mrs. Hale added quietly, "If sitting her next to him and pairing them up makes her tries, Then I am okay with being the villain in some middle school drama. My heart was pounding so loud, I could hear it in my ears. I stepped back before they saw me and just stood in the empty hallway, shaking. The whole thing suddenly clicked. The new seat. The project pair. The way she watched us. It was not random at all. My science teacher was literally matchmaking my motivation. For some reason, that made me angry and grateful at the same time. Angry because my feelings felt like part of an experiment. Grateful because she actually cared enough to do all of that. I did not know which emotion to listen to. So I went home, stared at my Roblox login screen, and did nothing. That silence felt heavier than any slime pit. The next day, Noah caught me before class. "We need a project idea," he said quietly. I just nodded. He took a deep breath, like he was choosing between telling the truth or staying safe. "You do not have to talk to me outside of this if you do not want to," he said, "but I am not just doing your work for you. If we are partners, then we are both doing this." That was the first time he had ever sounded even a little bit mad. It hit harder than any joke people made about us. I sat with that all through the morning. By lunchtime, something snapped inside. I was done feeling like everything in my life was just happening to me, like my grades, my seat, my feelings, were all somebody else's decision. So after school, I opened Roblox and finally typed his username again. My fingers were shaking as I sent one message. "Do you want to build the project as a game?" He replied almost instantly. "Seriously?" "Yeah," I typed. "If we are doing this, I want it to actually be ours." There was a pause. Then, "Join my server." My heart did that weird jump thing again. We spent the next 2 weeks building the strangest, coolest science game. It was a Roblox map where players went through different rooms, each one showing a chemical reaction. If they mixed the wrong virtual ingredients, stuff exploded in harmless glitter and they got teleported back. If they got it right, they unlocked a new area with little explanations I wrote myself. And this time, I was not just running around following Noah. I was the one coming up with half the ideas. Sometimes we argued. He wanted it to be super accurate, I wanted it to be fun. He thought one explanation was too simple, I thought another was too boring. More than once I slammed my keyboard and said, "This is impossible." But every time, we ended up laughing again and fixing it. Somewhere between the bugs and the late-night chats, that weird tension between us started to change. The night before the presentation, we ran through the game one last time. My avatar was standing on a glowing platform in the final room, with fireworks behind us. Noah's avatar stood next to mine. There was this quiet pause. Then he said, "You know, you are actually really good at this. Not just the game, the science." I felt my face get hot, even though we were just two characters on a screen. I did not know what to say. So I said, "You are not bad either." It was not much, but it meant everything in that moment. Presentation day was chaos. Everyone had posters and half-falling-apart models and last-minute note cards. When it was our turn, Mrs. Hale plugged in the projector, and our Roblox game popped up on the big screen. The class actually went quiet. We took turns explaining how each level showed a reaction, how the player had to balance the ingredients, why some combinations did not work. My voice shook at first, then it did not. When it was over, people actually clapped. Not polite clapping. Real clapping. Some kids even asked if they could play the game later. I saw Mrs. Hale standing at the back, her hands folded, eyes shiny. For a second, it looked like she might actually cry. That was when I realized how much she had been hoping this would work. A week later, she handed back our project grades. At the top of my paper was an A. Not a pity one. Not a "you tried" sticker. A real actual A. My chest felt too small for the feeling inside it. After class, I walked up to her desk. My hands were sweating. "Did you really do all of this on purpose?" I asked. She pretended not to understand. The seat, the project, putting me with him, was that all planned? For a second, she just looked at me. Then she smiled. "Sometimes," she said, "chemistry is about putting the right things next to each other and seeing what happens." Her eyes flicked toward Noah, who was packing his bag, then back to me. And sometimes, that is true outside the lab too. I wanted to roll my eyes, but instead I laughed. She did not say yes. But she definitely did not say no. It has been a year now. Science is one of my favorite subjects. I still play Roblox with Noah almost every day. We have more games, more stories, more inside jokes than I can even count. At some point, lab partners turned into holding hands under the table when we think nobody is looking. It still feels surreal. Every time we walk into the classroom and pass that row where we first sat next to each other, it hits a little bit. If Mrs. Hale had not moved my seat, I might still be failing, still hiding in games alone, still pretending not to care. Instead, there is this whole new life, with grades that do not make me want to cry, and someone who makes everything feel lighter. Someone who was once just the quiet kid on the other side of a name card. People still make jokes sometimes. About our science love story, about Roblox dates in virtual labs. But now it does not bother me. Because this does not feel like something that just happened. It feels like a story someone carefully set up, one little choice at a time. Sometimes, when I am sitting in class and I catch Mrs. Hale watching us with that tiny smile, it hits again. A teacher looked at a lazy kid who only cared about Roblox and decided to rewrite the whole script. Not with magic, not with yelling, but by putting the right person in the seat next to mine. And the craziest part is that one small change did not just fix my grades. It kind of changed everything.